Surrounding a Circle, an online lesson developed by C. Mei Hua. This lesson I developed specifically for my 6th grade math class, which includes 7 ELL students. This lesson is a part of a unit on two-dimensional measurement, in which students apply the concepts of perimeter and area to the solution of problems and their formulas where appropriate. Students represent real situations and mathematical relationships with concrete models and tables. Following lessons on finding the area and perimeter of parallelograms, students will study how to find the perimeter of a circle. Students will use the term circumference and the components of a circle, center, diameter, and radius. They will measure real circular items they could find around the house and record the measurements on a table. The students will divide the circumference by the diameter, and if their calculations are correct, their quotients should be a little bit more than 3. The students will use this information to create a formula for finding the circumference of a circle if they know the diameter. Objectives. Students will be able to prove that it takes slightly more than 3 diameters to equal the circumference of a circle. They will develop a formula and use it to calculate the circumference of circles of various sizes. And students will label the center, radius, and diameter on a real-world example. Hello and welcome to Miss Hua's 6th grade online math class for English language learners. Today's lesson is called Surrounding a Circle. You've already learned how to find the area and the perimeter of a two-dimensional quadrilateral, like a square, a rectangle, or a parallelogram. But today you're going to be learning how to find the perimeter of a new shape of a circle. In order to do that, you need to know some new vocabulary. The perimeter of a circle is not called the perimeter. It's actually called the circumference. And that would be the distance around the outside of a circle. This dot in the middle of the circle is the center. It is halfway between each side, up, down, and all the way around. From one end of the circle to the other end, we call that the diameter. And it passes right through the center, and it goes the distance of the entire circle. And we usually label that with a small d for diameter. From the center of the circle to one edge, we call it the radius. And we label that with a little r. There are 2 radii in one diameter. And there's not just one diameter. You can move this line all around the circle in any direction, and it'll still give you the diameter. There's an infinite number of diameters and radii in a circle. This week's assignment, I'm going to have you find the diameter, the radius, and the circumference of household circles and items you find in your house or on the street. This is Clorox disinfecting wipes cylinder, and we can use it because its top is a circle and its bottom is a circle. I'm going to measure the bottom just because I've written all over the top. What I want you to do is find the diameter in centimeters. So you're going to put a measuring tape from one end of your circle to the other one. This one, if you can see, is 10 centimeters for diameter. And I'm going to go ahead and label that on here. You need to make sure whenever you're measuring anything to always put the units. These units are centimeters, so I wrote D equals 10 centimeters. If we know that the diameter is 10 centimeters, we can divide that by 2 to find the radius, because as I said, there are 2 radii in one diameter. So that means the radius from the center of the circle to the edge is 5 centimeters. We're going to go ahead and measure that just to make sure we're correct. Yep, 5 centimeters. Now, to find the circumference, you're going to find the distance surrounding the entire circle. And you'll do that by taking your measuring tape and putting it around like this. So the circumference of this cylinder is 34 centimeters. And we label circumference with a capital C. So whenever you write C equals 34 centimeters. Now you're going to find the diameter, the radius, and the circumference of at least 5 household items. They can be cylinders, like Clorox wipes, like oatmeal canisters, CDs, water bottles, anything that you can find the distance around, and the diameter, and the radius. And you're going to go onto the class Google site and put those diameter, radius, and circumference measurements into a table. In the final column, I want you to divide the circumference by the diameter. In this case, our circumference is 34 centimeters and the diameter is 10 centimeters. So divide 34 by 10 and you get 3.4 centimeters. As always, if you have any questions, please email me or contact me via instant message on Google Messenger, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you. In the technology-based activity, students will use an interactive website to investigate the relationship between diameter and circumference. After finding the diameter and circumference of real-world circular objects and determining the circumference is about 3 times the diameter, students will use the investigation on this interactive website to determine the exact ratio. The website allows students to use exact measurements that they would be unable to obtain using real-world objects due to margin of error. I will ask the students to choose at least 5 different web-based diameters from the website tutorial and input them into the table. Then they will be asked to take a screen grab so that I might have proof of their work. They will find that the circumference is about 3.14 times the diameter, which will then give them the coefficient for the circumference formula. The students will be expected to complete the technology-enhanced activity by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. Once they have completed the table, I will ask them to respond to the following questions. Can you determine the relationship between radius and diameter, radius and circumference, diameter and circumference? Students will be able to use the website and their own physical investigation to answer these questions. They will post their responses to our class Google site. Students will need to describe and show how they found the relationships. Students will be expected to use complete sentences and numbers for examples. The students' open-ended responses I will evaluate using a rubric and return to them by Friday at 11:59 p.m. so that students can review any errors or confusion they may have had and ask any lingering questions. I adapted an MCAS rubric to be the open response rubric. I like to use MCAS rubrics as a guide to get students familiar and acquainted with the ways in which they will be assessed on the MCAS. So now you have investigated and found that there are just a little bit more than 3 diameters in the circumference of a circle. The web-based activity showed you that 3.14 is a more exact answer. This number is a very important mathematical number. It is a mathematical constant whose value is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. It is approximately equal to 3.14159265, but it's an irrational number, which means that its decimal never ends or repeats. Every time we use pi, it gives us a solution that is approximate. The symbol for pi comes from the first letter of the word for perimeter in Greek. It's the symbol pi. Now we can revise our formula and add pi as our constant. We can then write our formula as circumference equals pi times diameter, or circumference equals pi times 2 radii. Please use this formula, your real-world investigations, and your online web activity to complete the practice problems that I've posted on the Google site. Please email me your responses. Don't post them to the site. Make sure you complete your online quiz by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And as always, contact me if you have any questions via my email or Google Chat. Thank you. I have developed a final online quiz as a summative assessment of the lesson. Questions include stating the formula they found for finding the circumference and computing the circumference. Questions are both multiple choice and short answer, and each question is worth 1 point, for a total of 10 points. The quiz is online at quizstar.forteachers.org. I am most worried about students using calculators or Googling answers. When classes are entirely online, students and teachers rely on the honor system to prevent plagiarism or cheating. To help reduce the chance of cheating, I made a 30-minute time limit on the online quiz and incorporated open response questions. The final online quiz will be due on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. To view the complete lesson and see student work, please visit our class Google site at sites.google.com/site/Miss Wah's class.